Exciting video. Is March the 16th, 2021. And hey, I just wanted to bring your attention to a very interesting article written on February 16th, 2021. You can find this article on Decrypt, and it talks about what stops the Fed from buying up Bitcoin. Let's start to think about this. So just imagine, we're going to go through this article and look at what the Fed has actually done in the past with regards to other foreign currencies, commodities, and whatnot. And we're going to ask ourselves a couple of questions and try to get a hold of what this article is really getting at. It says, given that the U.S. Federal Reserve holds just over $44 billion in foreign currencies, what's stopping it from adding Bitcoin to its list? So it says, in brief, Bitcoin represents a tiny fraction of 19.4 trillion U.S. dollar circulating supply, but its market cap continues to grow. And were it to challenge the status of the U.S. dollar, the Federal Reserve would struggle to seize control of Bitcoin. And attempting to add Bitcoin to its reserves would likely boost the value of Bitcoin and start a race war with other countries. Let's see. Bitcoin has been called many things: digital gold, a store of value, and currency. Indeed, it's now the fifth largest currency. Look at that, folks. When its market capitalization is compared to the M0 money supply of fiat currencies. And of course, it's still small potatoes when compared to the US dollar, the world's reserve currency. At its current market capitalization, $915 billion, Bitcoin represents just a tiny fraction of 19.4 trillion US dollar circulating supply. However, given that Bitcoin market capitalization has multiplied 55-fold in the last 4 years and 100-fold in the last 7 years, it isn't an unrealistic projection to imagine it could one day rival the U.S. dollar. And the U.S. Federal Reserve is certainly aware of Bitcoin. Its chairman, Jerome Powell, has described Bitcoin as a speculative store of value like gold, in the past noting that almost no one uses it for payments. Given that the U.S. Federal Reserve holds just over $44 billion in foreign currencies, what's stopping them from adding Bitcoin to the list? Okay, let's see what their reasons are. It could be counterproductive. First off, Bitcoin still has a long way to go before it's considered worthy of the Fed's attention. I don't know about that. They say there needs to be more publicly traded companies who buy crypto before the Fed will begin to even consider purchasing or holding Bitcoin. Also, Tesla's 1.5 billion Bitcoin buy in February sparked a lot of interest in Bitcoin among institutional investors. The cryptocurrency still has a long way to go before it's trading at a level where the Fed would take notice. Till Bitcoin begins trading roughly at parity with the US dollar, in terms of traded volume, the Fed is unlikely to consider it a threat. If you wait till it's trading at the same level as the US dollar, it's more than a threat. Okay? Because the price of Bitcoin is largely driven by changes in supply and demand, were the Fed to buy some Bitcoin, both retail and institutional investors would likely catch on and begin stockpiling Bitcoin themselves. This in turn could end up causing a dramatic sell side shortage, reducing the supply and potential driving up the demand for whatever is left. In effect, a massively amplified version of what happened in 2020 as institutional investors hoarded Bitcoin. And depending on how the market responds, this could drive the price of freely circulating Bitcoin up by such a degree that the circulating market cap matches or exceeds its value before the Federal Reserve intervened, the exact opposite of what the Fed might want. Okay, so from an optics point of view, it may promote the wrong message if the Federal Reserve were to buy Bitcoin. So why might the Fed buy Bitcoin? There are two main reasons the Fed might want to buy up Bitcoin. The first is to gain the majority control over what it believes the world's next reserve currency, whereas the second is to drive its value down to maintain the status of the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. As we'll soon see, buying Bitcoin for either of these two purposes will likely have unintended consequences and would more likely than not prove to be counterproductive. Okay, so they go on to say in order for the Fed to control Bitcoin as reserve currency, it would need to acquire and control the distribution and movement of the majority of Bitcoin. However, the Fed would likely be in competition with the central banks of the several other countries, since it would be a strong indication that the Fed believes Bitcoin is a powerful asset. Depending on the will and the buying power of the other countries, the Fed might end up with the short straw. Nevertheless, it may have to move sooner rather than later. October 2020, it emerged that Iran may be looking at funneling Bitcoin and potentially other cryptocurrencies into its reserve after it was revealed that the country's legally registered cryptocurrency miners were required to sell their cryptocurrencies to the central bank of Iran, likely at below market rates. Okay, so it says the state of the reserve. As per the most recent official reports, the United States Reserve is comprised of 144.89 billion worth of assets, and that the largest chunk of which is 52.9 billion is held as a special drawing right supplementary foreign exchange assets, while the second largest chunk is held as foreign currencies, most likely Chinese yen, euros, and pound sterling. Okay. So even if the United States converted all the assets in its reserve Bitcoin, it would still control less than half the Bitcoin in circulation. I'm going to stop here with this, looking at this, because the truth of the matter is, okay, the entire derivation of Bitcoin was to prevent this kind of thinking, that a government would be able to seize control of this asset and teeter it and totter it. Right now, they may be looking at it and they may be trying to think about how they can capitalize on people's profits, on company profits, on institutional investor profits, from the trading of these assets. However, the entire swag, if you will, for the entire cryptocurrency space is all about not having conformist ideas and governments dictating the value of a currency. And it's literally driven by supply and demand. The demand of the people, not the opinions of the government. And the minute they actually were to come in and begin to mediate this entire space, it's going to reduce the value of the currency, and it's going to change the complexion of the entire thing. So, with regards to the federal government actually coming in and starting to buy up Bitcoin, it may start to happen. They may have no choice in the matter, simply because the US dollar may have trouble actually staying at a price point or a value point where it is still looked at as a currency that is a baseline for the world as a store of value itself. And throughout history, the American dollar has began to reduce in value. You used to be able to buy more with less. And now the US dollar continues to decline in value, and it takes more money to buy a gallon of milk now than it probably did 30 years ago. Okay, you know, $5 and $6 for a gallon of milk. So we have to look at this and understand that while they sit on the fence and try to figure out what to do about Bitcoin, strategically, of course, they're looking at when do they have to get in. But the idea of them being able to control crypto, I don't see it. I did come across something called FTX. We might dig into that and the FTX token. If you're familiar with that, this appears to be something that Americans are not able to trade in or participate in. It explicitly says on their site that you can't actually trade. I'm gonna take you there. I want you to see this. Let's just go over here and take a look at FTX. Okay, let's go to CoinMarketCap here, and let's just go ahead and dig in. I want to give you an idea of what happens when you have government regulation that prevents you from actually participating or trading. So here's the FTX token here. Let's take a look at that. Okay, let's do this again. FTX. Okay. So FTX is a whole ecosystem. If you're familiar with exchanges or whatnot, but they do have what they call FTT token. It's their trading token, but it explicitly says on one of their pages here that you are not able to participate in using this exchange. Look at this. FTX services and FTX and FTX token are not available in the United States or other prohibited jurisdictions. Now, so for the poor Americans, we go over here to FTX token and we take a look at this thing. Has been sitting up here since November the 4th. Of last year. It was sitting up here $4, and the FTX freaking token is off the damn chart here. It's up 10 times. But thanks to whatever bullshit regulation, they're sitting up here saying that if you're American, you can't participate. And this is the kind of stuff that pisses me off. And I try not to get angry, and I try to keep this thing professional. But this is the kind of thing that you can expect if the federal government gets involved with Bitcoin. This is the kind of thing you can expect if they start, government regulation. It's an opportunity missed. It's a would-be tenfold increase in 3 months that Americans missed out on. So thank God they had a chance to go ahead and buy themselves some Engine coin or maybe some Ethereum and some Bitcoin. Because this is the kind of thing that is going to happen if the federal government gets involved. You're going to miss opportunities. Okay? Now what if we woke up tomorrow and they said, Bitcoin is outlawed, it's illegal? Well, this is what would happen. The rest of the world would go on and continue to trade with each other what they believe has value. We saw what happened with XRP. Hey, guess what? You want to take them off of Coinbase? People still bought XRP. All the other worldwide exchanges, it didn't matter. So there you go. The people are going to decide what's valuable. Not the federal government. Not any one government. So while they're over there trying to figure out, why the U.S. Federal Reserve doesn't buy Bitcoin, maybe there's somebody at the U.S. Federal Reserve that's smart enough to realize that there's no possible way that they can control the crypto space. So if you've enjoyed this video, please throw up the likes, throw up the shares, and if you're not currently a subscriber, hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you on the next one.